Have you ever been victimized by New Age spirituality?
We've been we've been waiting for you. We've been waiting.
You're gonna want to listen up.
I'm Megan, an intuitive life coach and Reiki master.
I'm Ryan, a professional astrologer, and we want to show you what spirituality is by talking about what it is not.
Con artist.
Yes.
Snake oil salesman.
There are so many susceptible people out there.
And then they're tainted. They're ruined. They don't want to come back to spirituality.
We still have a lot to learn, and we will humble ourselves and learn, I think, every freaking day. This is Clairanoyance,
a podcast of spiritual interference. We're back. We are back.
We are. You'll see it says July astrology forecast. Sorry. We did.
It happens. Listen, it happens. Until somebody wants to fund this creative operation, which we are so welcome to that idea.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Ryan's editing this and life be lifing sometimes. So hopefully you had a nice June and things went well for you. We love you. Now let's talk July. Let's talk July.
It's the wild month. There's a lot of stuff happening right now.
But you know what? That's Cancer season, baby. Did you tell me, or did I think it was you? But it's changed my my perspective. Sorry, guys, I'm in prep, so I'm literally 3 weeks out from my show. If I don't, you know how I do with words anyway. If the words don't flow like they usually do, it's because I'm very low carb. But so Cancer, since they're ruled by the moon, and then the moon, it changes signs every 2 days. No wonder you don't ever know what you're getting with these people, because they're just their emotions are just going with the ride, and that has completely changed my perspective on Cancers. As far as who has that as a sun sign, and then also during Cancer season, because it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're considered to be the moody sign, because it's moony. Like, that's literally where these words come from, you guys.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to one day just like whip out one of these random things you've taught me at trivia. I never play trivia, but if I were, I would be like, and there's this
Nobody's
random
that into
question,
trivia.
And I would win because of you and your hot knowledge that you bestowed us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That's important to know, because like now that planets are going to be in Cancer, that means any planet in Cancer is ruled by the moon. And since the moon is changing signs every 2.5 days, the moon is going to be changing the way that it like instructs all these Cancer planets to operate and how they should feel. And like it's chaotic. It's chaotic. I speak as a Cancer moon myself. It's hard. Like it literally explains why you wake up every 2.5 days, and I'll go to bed in a fine mood and wake up and be like, what the fuck happened overnight? Like, what the hell happened? You know? So it's annoying. It is. I know it is. Anyway, so there's a lot of like little things going on this month, like a big array. And that's why, as you can see in the episode title, I'm calling it the Archipelago of Self, which sounds so wild, but like honestly, I'm so obsessed with this. I like really hardcore have been thinking about this. There's so much to it. So like I want to like spend a little time like talking about this concept. Because with so many things going on, and because everybody's moods are different, right? Um, you might be feeling one way and someone else is like feeling a whole different way, right? An archipelago, it's a group of islands, each in this sense, as far as just like each individual person's concerned, your archipelago is like all these little islands represent different facets of yourself and who you are, and different ways that you can see yourself, different moods, right? There's so many ways to consider this, but it's also like I'm on this island over here, you're on that island over here, and then like tomorrow we're on completely different islands. Like it's just like the way it is. So like this doesn't feel like a month where it's like, oh, here's the general temperature that like the collective is moving through. It more so feels to me like people are like kind of really all over the place, you know? And I think it's like interesting considering the identity as like we always think of it as one thing. Like I am me. I am just me, you know? But I am many
Hmm.
things. And like we always in break out identity in a bunch of little ways. So like psychology always thinks about like the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the ego, the id, the shadow. Like there's, you know, like Carl Jung and
Hmm.
Freud like broke out the brain. And then astrology also, we talk about all the zodiac signs, and we all have all 12 zodiac signs and how they're concentrated in us very differently, and they're expressed through
Hmm.
us very differently. So even like things like demographically, it's like an intersectionality, like race, gender, your class, right? Like all of these things like help create facets of who you are. So I'm saying this for like, well, important reasons. Another thing, I'm gonna like list a bunch of resources below because I have a ton for this episode to be, well, a bunch of references that I'll link below in case anybody's interested in learning more. But there's also a cool thing called ecological systems theory that as I was
Ooh.
kind of like putting this together, this one I found. I had not like seen this before, but obviously it makes sense. Which is basically like saying, okay, you know, your identity's in the middle, and then there's all these rings outside of you that influence you or condition you. Conditioning being really, really important here. Okay. So like it's like here's who I am in the center, and then the ring on that outer circle is like my family, you know, like my childhood upbringing and that conditioning you receive in like formative years. Then there's like media, there's society, there's institutions, there's like all sorts of external factors as well that create who you are. Like even if you know, you could have gone to a really good school when you were a kid, but then that school district could have cut the budget harshly, and then all of a sudden your access to education goes away. That that changes you and the ways that
Hmm.
you are going to see the world and the islands you feel like you can go to. Like some of these islands you've never been to. These islands of you've never been to. It's like potentials at like things that
Ooh.
you can go to, you know? But like some islands you'll never get to, you know, like that's crazy to me. Like that you can envision it for yourself, but you'll never be there. I don't want to put that limitation on anybody either. That's not what I'm saying. I'm like being realistic about it, which is funny that I even say the word realistic right now. I'll get to that. But I just think that that's interesting because there's all these things that we aspire to. Sometimes we get to those little aspects of ourselves, these potentials of self, versions of self. And oftentimes we don't. Oftentimes we don't even know that some of that exists until we
Hmm.
fucking like jet off and like see what else is out there for us, you know? So there's a lot
Hmm.
of these things, and that's kind of in the general high level view. Here's what do you have any thoughts on that first? Because I got like a
Yes.
whole good thing to say about this,
Yes,
but keep
I
going.
mean, I love that. Well, and also like the islands of you, like how deep I'm into subconscious stuff. So that's what I was thinking. Like, all right, what and potential requires action. So if you want to meet the islands of you, you better put some hustle in that step. Chop chop. Like see what's out there. Get outside of your comfort zone. Try something new. Even just going to a new coffee shop. So I love the I don't want to say illusion that you've created, but that we're a series of small islands, and it's like if you don't like where you are, get in your dinghy and beep beep, cruise over to the next island, but also
Hmm.
be respectful that someone might be on a different island time.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all of these, it's just funny because it's like we can only be. So here's my next thing. There's an astrologer, I cannot remember who, but like early in my like learning astrology days, I cannot for the life of me remember who. It was not like a huge name astrologer, but it's always stuck with me related to Cancer that she said this. She said Cancer is a fractal. I really wish I could like I've tried searching. I cannot find who said this, but it's amazing to me. So fractals, I'm linking this below. You can find a photo, but often you'll find videos of fractals. It's where it looks like it's like a broccoli looking like kind of pattern, and videos will just like zoom in forever and ever and ever and
Yeah,
ever.
they're
It's a
pretty.
Yeah, it's like a mathematical equation that repeats. It's a never-ending
Ooh.
pattern. But it's like with every zoom in, it doesn't repeat in the way that it's like you're just constantly zooming in on the same view. You keep zooming in on a different aspect of the fractal, basically, just because it's the way that it unfolds, sort of. But it's all the same pattern. You just, as it zooms, you're getting to a different point within the fractal pattern. It's weird, but it's trippy. It's cool. And it's math. It's literally like a natural thing. And anyways, I'm saying this because of the never-ending pattern vibe of it and how we can like the archipelago where we can only have one perspective at any given point, right? And
Hmm.
but or be on one island at a time. But we are all of these islands at the same time, you know? So it's like we are the whole
Hmm.
fractal, but we're only really ever envisioning things from one point of view. And so it's like here I am on this one little bit of the fractal, but there's this whole thing that comes from it, especially with the zoom in effect with the fractal.
Yeah.
And so thinking of that, it's like Cancer is water, the first water sign. It's emotions, it's family, childhood conditioning, upbringing, your past, genealogy, ancestry, where you come from. That is a fractal. Like you can be at any point of this, but that point is part of a much, much bigger, never ending, always ongoing, repeating pattern. So this idea of this is like you, me, everybody carries with them this whole family history, this lineage, this heritage, right? And you are a reflection
Yeah.
of a much bigger thing. So same with the archipelago that you're on an island, but it's a component of a much bigger whole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Crazy.
I know it's
I
really
mean,
interesting.
it's really wild because, like, yeah, because, like, I forget there, but how many people, like, of all your ancestors it took for you to be here? Like, how many, like, when you start to think about that, and yes, it hurts my brain.
Yeah, I mean, and technically, how like technically we're all related, right? Like I mean, really, it's like we all come from the same
Mhm.
primordial particle that initiated the Big Bang. Like that's the start of the fractal. Like in a sense, like Cancer is that it's the womb, it's the birth, right? Of like everything.
Yeah.
So it's like really interesting to kind of consider this forever unfolding pattern, and even going with the repeating themes thing and knowing Cancer is a water sign. Okay, there's water in an archipelago. I'm going to get to that. But like that emotions and Cancer's memory, because it rules the past, emotions and memory, and how we instinctively, repeatedly play out emotional scenes because of the conditioning that we've received, because of our experiences we've been through in life, will fall into these same patterns and cycles emotionally or live in the past and make future decisions based on that past, right? Like our memory
Hmm.
really matters a lot. So many people will realize that, like, wow, I have this pattern. I have this constant person that I'm getting in wrapped up with, or this constant type of
Yeah.
situation. Like, that's that fractal, like that's, you know, playing out for a reason,
Hmm.
and it's not maybe until you get to a different island or take on a different perspective or embrace this part of yourself or something that you maybe were not looking at before you can really get out of that cycle in a way that's going to be healthier or handle it in a better way or something. Um,
Yeah.
Makes
Makes
sense.
sense too, because cancers, all the cancers I know, they hold grudges like you cannot believe. And I'm like, that is not healthy. Like,
They
let's let
can't.
that go. And they're like,
Yeah.
they refuse.
Yeah, they can. It's different. Scorpio technically rules grudges, but like I'd say like Cancer will hold a grudge if you're not their family, quote unquote. Like Cancer, they can hold a grudge against like a family member or like a chosen family member, right? But like if you're not in their like cozy circle, like they're and you screw a Cancer over, they're gonna hold that grudge forever because you're not a part of their
Hmm.
family. You don't need to get back in their good graces. Do you know what I mean? Like there's
Hmm.
no. so they don't care. But if it's a family member, chosen family type of person, they'll maybe be bitter about it for a while, but like it's like it's family, like, oh, my kid could
Yeah.
murder someone and I'm still gonna love them at the end of the day, like that kind of
Yeah.
vibe.
Makes
It's
sense.
interesting.
It,
Okay, so then there's this one of my favorite authors of all time is Jorge Luis Borges. I actually had to look up how to
oh,
pronounce that because I didn't know.
Jorge
Although I
Luis
should have guessed. I bet
Borges.
I would have guessed it. So he is has some short stories, especially that are like a wonder to behold. And he focuses on a style which called ear realism. So not realism, not surrealism, but ear realism. I'm going to explain this, but this short story in particular that I'm going to explain is called The Aleph. And Aleph, again, it's linked below. I'll also link some
Mhm.
website about ear realism if you want to like learn more about it. But it's actually kind of hard to explain ear realism. I'm going to explain it, I think, as succinctly as I can, but it's hard because it's a philosophical idea, but it's also an art concept. Like there's a ways that ear realism can be applied. So I'm not going to say the whole story of the Aleph. You can go read it though. I bet I could link to that. But basically a big part of the Aleph, okay, is that this guy finds this thing called the Aleph, which is like a little orb, like a little 1 inch orb floating in this basement. Okay. And he was told, he didn't believe it, but he was told that when you look at this orb contains all possibilities that can exist in the universe. So you see everything all at once, everything, all
Oh.
realities, all timelines, all perspectives, every little grain of sand from every side of that you could see that grain of sand, etc. And the way that he finally gets to this Aleph and he sees it, and it's actually like an amazing experience, like watching him do this, like the way he wrote it.
Hmm.
He does it in like a nice, good, chunky paragraph, but it's just a paragraph, and you really see this like unfolding thought process of like, oh my God, I'm experiencing all realities at once, just looking at this one thing. How can that be possible? How is that possible? Because it's a 1 inch little orb that has everything in it. How? Right? Like our human brain cannot comprehend that, right? And that's irrealism right there, is just this idea that we can think of at the most zoomed out perspective of the fractal, zoom all the way out of the archipelago, the universe is infinite, right? Infinite possibilities exist, infinite timelines, infinite universes might exist. We don't know, but this idea is so big. But the human mind cannot wrap itself around that. We can't understand how infinity could exist because we experience finite reality and linear time and all of that, right? So
Hmm.
irrealism is the point that basically reality breaks down. It doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't work anymore. So it's not realism because realism is like, well, here's what makes sense. This is concrete reality. This is real, right? This is tangible.
Yeah.
Um, and then surrealism is more of like an artistic, like kind of choice where it's like, I'm gonna put this into like a dreamy space or a very weird metaphor or something to kind of like waken your subconscious mind and make you experience a hidden truth about reality. That's not what
Hmm.
irrealism is. Irrealism is about, hey, not everything's going to make sense at all. Okay. And so, like, one example that's like a common irrealist example would be like, imagine that there's a door, and every time you open that door, it opens to a whole new location. That doesn't make sense, right? Because it breaks down spatial reality. Like, it's like that doesn't make
Hmm.
sense. We can't fathom a reality where that could exist, but I'm imagining it at the same time. So can
Yeah.
that not exist? But that's irrealism. Like what? Like I
Yeah.
can't. It's so weird, right? So it's
Anything
like,
is possible. Yeah.
but I can't open my door and get to any reality. So what are you talking about? There's a door that can open to any reality. Do you know what I mean? But we can
Yeah.
imagine that and we can write about that and we can like that. So that reality technically exists because we're
Hmm.
functionally
Oh no,
imagining
no, you're
it.
speaking my language.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know you know what I'm
you know,
saying, right?
I love, yeah. I mean, you just given me a new way to explain. I'm gonna go read this for the law of assumption. So,
I
and
know.
how I can teach my clients. So you just given
Yeah,
me
read it.
a
It's
true
interesting.
gift.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's or
thank
at
you.
least look up irrealism. I don't know if like this story would make it. Maybe the story could actually maybe be interesting for yeah, maybe for Law of
Oh no.
Assumption. The
Oh,
story could
I'm
be
reading
interesting.
all of
He
it.
has a couple
Yeah.
other stories. Like he's an amazing writer. Like it's kind. He's a distinct style. He's like Argentinian, and I think this
Anything
story.
is possible. That's why, like when with the law of assumption, and then also that's the energy side of it, but the scientific side of things, that's why visualization, putting yourself into that reality and stepping into the new expression of who you want to be is so important. So this lines up like I got a total boner for this.
Okay, cool.
I can't
But there's
wait.
yeah, but then there's also like even with the law of assumption, there's like the like need to accept reality as is at the same time. Like to and that's where there's
Hmm.
the irrealism that like that like contradictory effect there of like, okay, I'm on this island right now. I know that there must be an island out there, right? Like there's an island out there that
Hmm.
I can go to because my island's drying up. There's no food left or whatever, but I can't swim that far and I have no boat. So there can be this
Oh no.
acceptance of like that reality. I could be on that island somehow. That island's over there, but I can't get there. I don't know. I can imagine me there. But you know what I mean? Like that's where there's this like
Yeah.
this is irreal. This is the irrealism part of it. There's like the human brain just breaks down at a point. We kind of can't figure out how to make these like things happen that even though we can imagine them. So there's that.
Hmm.
Here's an interesting thing with it with oops. Another part of this is like he has this really interesting quote. And cancer is memory, right? Like it literally is memory. It is emotions, the ways we act based on the past and nostalgia and all of that. So he has this really cool quote at the end of the story. I'm not, yeah, I'm going to be like kind of spoiling something about the story, okay? But like, who cares? It's a short story. Go read it. It's beautiful. But at the end of the story, he basically questions whether this Aleph was even real after you have this amazing experience of watching him discover it. And he explains all realities. And it's like, what? He says, did I see it there in the cellar when I saw all things? And have I now forgotten it? Our minds are porous and forgetfulness seeps in. I myself am distorting and losing under the wearing away of years, which is just like tragic to me because it's like, it literally makes me think about how you think like somebody will be in front of your face and you can love them so much and be like, I'm never gonna forget you. Like, how could I forget this person? And then a couple years go by, and you're like, I can't remember their face. Like, I
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
think of, but they
Or
were
hear their
real. They were
voice.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's so crazy to me. Like the memory is crazy, and like like and how this scientific studies of how people misremember the past, but they still make future
Yes.
decisions based off of that stuff. And so the mind is a crazy thing, and that's weird. So this is another common concept of irrealism is this idea that like memory can come and it can go, and how can memories just pop in but then we lose them? Like that's irreal. Why can't I always have this wellspring of experience and memory to pull from? So knowing cancer's like personal life, and cancer's the women of the family, the matriarchy, and all of that. I'll tell a little personal thing here and just say, like my grandma is now in hospice and has
Mm.
dementia, and like her
Yeah.
mind is coming and going. It's a like her reality, quote
Yeah.
unquote, is fragmented and coming and going, and that's irreal. Like that's at this weird breakdown, and it's very interesting that this is happening at this point in time. I feel like because I'm like, this is so this
On par.
appropriate. Like it's
Yeah.
so weird. And
Yeah.
cancer
That
in
is
general is
wild.
irreal, by the way. Let me just say this final thing really quick here, and then I want your thoughts. Cancer is both a cardinal sign, meaning it's a sign that starts a season, it's the start of summer. The cardinal signs are like go, 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 initiate, out the gate, running fast, forward movement, right? But it's the sign of the past and memories and nostalgia. That's irreal. That doesn't make, what do you
Yeah.
mean I'm supposed to go ahead and start a new season, but I'm stuck back there? Like
Yeah.
what? How is it both? But it is both. That's
Yeah.
irreal.
Well, as far as that, I saw about your grandma. One time I was talking to this shaman who was in town. Cool dude. Like from an I was kind of I couldn't really talk a lot about I was sworn to not never really speak about some of the things he said, but one thing he did say that I could speak about, because there was a lady there whose mom had Alzheimer's, and he was like his belief, and his people's belief was that, the soul is coming and going from the body. And so
Hmm.
it was a really interesting perspective to hear and gave her some peace. And then, as far as like not remembering someone or not remembering like what they said or what they looked like, I don't know where I was listening to this, but it said something to the effect of, and it was an energy healer who was using quantum physics, so we're going to take that with a grain of salt. But it was like, if you're not in front of me, or if something is not in front of you, it's not in your reality.
Yeah.
So, and it's wild to think, because it's like, what do you like? But like,
This.
what, your family or your this, and then ADHD. People who have ADHD. They're I forget the exact term for it, but if they're not hyper obsessed over you or what you're doing, they don't remember what you. And
Hmm.
it's not being object, is it object permanence? We'll have to check. But if you're not in front, and I can attest, if I'm invested in you, then I think about you.
Hmm.
But I have people that I love dearly that I don't think about ever at
Hmm.
all until somebody brings them up, and it's function, you know? So then I'll be like, oh my God, I've got to talk to my, a cousin or something like that, because you're not in my reality. And so, and then it says that, this lady this energy healer who was probably completely mislabeling the quantum physics of it was like, yeah, not real. But it makes sense because it's not real in my reality currently.
Hmm. No, that's literally
So yeah.
100% true. I always said this before I would ever even contemplate something like this. Like, I would always tell friends, like when I'd move or I transferred schools or whatever, like I would try to keep in touch because I'm a Cancer moon. So I'm like nostalgic and I want my past and I want the whole thing. Like, I don't want to like lose that emotional connectivity that I had with all these wonderful people. So I literally
Hmm.
would try to keep in touch. And I felt like the one that would always try to keep in touch, but it would always break down. But it's funny and irreal because as much as I don't want to lose that and I want to stay in touch with all these people, I need people in my physical vicinity. I need you in front of my face. Like I really focus on
Yeah.
that type of thing. Like that connection matters so much. So I can't now. Like I can't say if you're not here, I can't keep in touch with you. It's why and it's funny. Like I mean, this is a weird way to put it, and I don't want to like minimize your importance in my life, but in a way, I'm like, man, like you exist for me on Thursdays. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like I can't
Yeah.
think about like I don't all
You'll
how can
cross
I
my
like this
mind.
is one of the
Yeah.
most
No.
important things
Yeah.
happening in my life is this
Yeah.
podcast
No,
and
I'm with you. No
how
offense
how
taken.
is how do I not
Yeah. I'll be like, you'll cross my mind because I'm like, oh shit, we gotta do this. Like, and it's not that that you don't mean, you mean so much to me. I love you so much. I love this podcast. Yeah, but it's like life happens.
Hmm.
One thing that I think is cool though, and I think I've said this before, but Stephen Bartlett, and this is what I love: connection cannot be created nor denied. It's either there,
Yeah.
or not. So that's why when you see someone that you haven't seen in forever, and then you're like, oh my God, I fucking love you, and you just like hit it,
Yeah.
bonds and attachments, those can be strengthened.
And that's
Um,
yeah.
but
Bond is
connection
cancer.
cannot.
No, for
And so
sure.
it's so interesting too, because you know i I have a lot of cancers in my life, and that's been a tumultuous sign sometimes for me. Well, one of my a lifelong friend, like, and we've gone back and we've had a storied past. So when you said about cancers cutting people off, we have gone through like very interesting periods where we have not talked. And so she's turning 40 here soon. I haven't been invited to her birthday party for the past 3 years. No big deal. We had grown apart. I get invited. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I run into her at the concert. And when we see each other, we've got this connection. You can't, like, we have the same sense of humor, and we've got 20 years history. So we're just bapping, having fun. And so it's just wild that, her birthday. So I'm like, I was there for your 30th. I've been there for just about every other fucking birthday. You invited me to your 40th. You better fucking believe I'm coming, buddy. And now
Hmm.
we've been texting all this week, and it's just been like easy. It's just wild how in sync my this cancer relationship that I
Yeah.
have with this woman, and we've had some
That's
trying
that.
times, and we've
Yeah.
had some great times. And she will cut people off, and I've like she will cut, like block you, fuck
Yeah.
you. I ain't talking to you. And I'm like, I'm I'm just grateful that I've never been on that receiving end, but we've been through it and we're now in this interesting spot again where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come celebrate your 40th birthday and I'm gonna laugh and we're gonna have a great time. And
That,
thanks for inviting
yeah.
me.
But and you've been to birthdays with her before, right? Like that's that habitual
Was
patterned kind of vibe here, you know? It's
yeah, and
interesting to
so it's
me.
like it's so wild, and so it's so yeah, so it's an interest, and so it's next week. She turns 40, and it was like, and I was like, hey, thanks for because we've gotten to a cool spot. I've never had a friendship like that where we were best friends, then we'll not fall
Yeah.
apart, we grow apart, then best friends. She was maid of honor in my wedding, best friends, boom, but back and forth. And now it's like last summer we got into this cool groove where we would see each other and it'd just be fun and it'd be
Hmm.
easy. And we're here again in this summertime in her season.
Yeah.
And now, so now it's like, all right, of
It's
course I'm going to celebrate your 40th birthday. Like
I
that's
know.
huge.
Isn't that
It's so
funny?
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom just brought up this like childhood friend that I had. Well, not childhood, it was like high school, like best friend that apparently we took on a vacation to Hilton Head once. I don't remember. I
Oh,
do not remember
that's
this
two
friend
hours
coming on
south of
vacation with
me.
us, but I
Yeah.
remember her obviously. And so I was like,
Yeah.
that's so funny that she's like bringing this up right now, like this past old friend. But it's that same connection where, like, I mean, I'm here and she's all the way back in Illinois. I really don't see her or talk to her much. But when we do catch up, it's just like we're back in fucking high school again. That same like vibe for sure. It's really funny. That's
It's
definitely
so
like the
I just
cancer
vibe.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I also have a girl Mishka. I think that we were like she's from Czech Republic. She's in Czech right now, but like I feel like we were like past lives together or something. But it's like I can't, and I don't want to shake them, but like these Cancerians. But it's just so funny because it's like I've never had relationships. When I'm done, I'm done. When someone's done,
Yeah.
they're done. And you can't. It's with these people. It's like no, we're just going
Yeah.
to take a little break and I love you and we'll be back. And that's
Yeah.
continually what happens.
Or often, like, if you're like sick of your cancer friends, but they're not sick of you, that's when like the cancer clinginess can come in. They're like, you can hate me all you want, but I'm just gonna keep loving your ass. You will love me again,
Hmm.
bitch. Like, you'll get over that and we'll be good again. Like, that's very cancer too. It's that, again, like the mother
That's so,
love
and
energy, right?
it's so
Like,
true. And my stepdaughter's a Cancer and she's, she's right on the cusp, but, and she's just, she's a G, man. I had to give her some news that wasn't very pleasant last week. And I was just like, she took it like a champ. I mean, I was like, damn, you're fucking inspiring.
yeah,
I love
cancer's
you.
a pretty mature energy for the most part.
She really is.
Like
I
it can,
mean,
I guess it's got the capacity. It's got a very big container for feelings and emotions and empathy. It teaches us empathy.
I'm
So,
the one giving her this news, and then she was like, you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm like, no, granted, I'm 12 and a half years older than hers. But it was just like, and my husband is 10 years older than me, so I'm not. This isn't weird, but it was, but it was like she's like, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of, all of this, and I was like, damn, I didn't know I needed to hear that from you, but I really did, and so yeah, I do. I do love some cancers, even when they're moody as fuck. All right, so let's get into it.
I know. So, well, I have a couple more things to say here.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. So
about this. So like part of an archipelago too is, and Cancer's a water sign, right? It like an
mm-hmm.
archipelago by literally by definition can only exist because there's water surrounding all these islands too, right? So
Yeah.
the water is important. And so I was trying to think about like what that symbolizes here. Cause like if the islands are the aspects of self, ways you can identify, perspectives you can have, whatever, then the water would be these emotional currents, right? That glue it all together, or the past experiences and the memories that connect your aspects of self together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very like those waters can be still some days. They can be rocky and like big waves some days. Like you don't really know. And it's gonna and however that water is definitely gonna be dictating where the current
Hmm.
is flowing is going to dictate like where you're able to go and how you're able to see yourself, which island you're on or whatever. Um, so
Yeah.
I think navigating the waters, learning to navigate between the sides of self, meaning, right, like I'm a male, but I'm white. These are two islands. But how do then those bridge together? It's the water, right? Like that connects these two
Yeah.
things. And what do I feel about being a white male? That comes with a lot of stuff, right? But like,
Yeah.
how do I bridge all that together? And like, there's a lot there, right? That you can just think about. And that's just one very high level basic dumb example. But I'm saying this also to say like you have to do this like voyage and go through emotional experiences
Yeah,
and
you do.
relive traumas from the past and explore your past conditioning and why are you the way you are and all of that and as much as you can because
Hmm.
like this month, it's a Cancer season, yes, but then we're moving into Leo season too. Very different energy. And so I'm trying to also now start drawing the connections in these to the storyline of the signs. Like as we move through the zodiac, it's this developmental story. So going from
Hmm.
Cancer to Leo is a lot of things, but in this context, I'm like, Leo it's ruled by the sun. It's different than the moon. The moon's reflecting the sun's
Hmm.
light, right? So I'm thinking it's more internalized. Sun is outward and it's brilliant and radiant and it knows its gifts. It knows how special it is. It knows what it has. It puts everything on display, even its flaws. It's just like, here I am, love
Yeah.
me. And you can only get to that point of self-acceptance and radiance and confidence that Leo has if you've accepted the self, literally, like the whole self. If you're living in authenticity, which is Leo,
Yeah.
and you can't be authentic or have self-acceptance until you've chosen to explore those islands of self, right? So like and
Yeah.
knowing that there's always going to be another island out there that you're not even aware of right now. Like the self is always evolving, just like that fractal keeps zooming in and zooming in and zooming in, but you're going to keep coming at it from a different point of
Yeah.
view. And so you're always going to change and realize things, but like at as much as you can explore yourself and like your archipelago and like I think you come into a wholeness, right? Like that's really what this is. It's like I'm integrating these sides of myself and I'm coming to a wholeness. That's me being able to be authentic, and then Leo can come in and then you can shine. Then you can say here's how I'm good and special and talented and can like be a somebody in this world.
I love that. That's so wild because Presley's a Cancer and Josh is a Leo.
Cool.
That's funny. Yeah. That is funny. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
The
so I
voyage
know that
to
was like a
Leo.
long intro, but I feel like that's like a serious meditation for the month for everybody.
I love it. I'm gonna go look it up, and I think that what makes our podcast different is these little, especially when it comes to our astrology reports,
Yeah.
is stuff like this.
Yeah. I
Because
don't just want to be
it
like, oh,
gives
and
you
here's
a
what's happening.
exactly. You give a different lens to be able to view this and perceive it. And for, dare I say, intellectuals to, because so many people, if they, I have some interesting folks who are listening to this who I'm like, just listen to this episode because it's not your
Mm,
traditional astrology is getting deconstructed. It's getting out of the woo woo aspect for a
yeah.
lot of people and they're seeing the value of it. And so when you're able to listen to something like this through your perspective, I mean, yeah, I hope you people are appreciative. I mean, we just got a master class, and I just got the notes. I'm just, I got the notes last night. I'm just looking at them now, because I wanted to live react because it's fun, but job well done, baby.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you very
love it.
much.
You're
I
welcome.
know. I
You're
want to like
welcome.
do more with some of these. That's why I'm putting them together because now we've got like archived, like really cool original content and ideas that we've come up with. And I want to like, I don't know, one day that could come in handy for something. Um, or
Shall we get into
hopefully
the
it just helps you right
illumination?
now, today, the day you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, Lunations. Now I've got a bunch of mini themes. We're not gonna like spend a fuck ton of time on these things, okay? Like, because again, it's like I don't want to like overemphasize
You
one experience.
better know. You better know what to do too, okay? Because we have been telling you what to do. And if, unless this is your first time listening, and then, but like there are practices and there are things that one can do to maximize the moon's energy, which I've been working with a lot more recently.
Yeah, they're
Um,
important.
yeah. So
It's
new
one of the
moon in
simplest things. It's one of
Cancer.
those, it's patterns, right? That's why the moon rules Cancer, because we see it go through that same cycle, that same pattern every month. It's that like habitual thing.
Side note, really quick. Do you know I had a client who is just like a self-proclaimed mess of an individual. And I was like, let me see. And I learned this because of you. I was like, let me see where the what moon phase was in, not your sign, not what. And they were born in the void moon. And I was like, oh yeah,
Mm,
this explains everything. This is just like you're just kind of abstract. Like, we need to change how we operate with you because this is not going to stick. Because it was just like, what do you mean you cannot do the basics right now? That like help me understand. And I could tell that like that they were really trying. And so I was like, okay, so you're not lazy. Let me readjust here. And then I was like, you know what? Let me figure out what phase of the moon. And once it was a void, I was then able to switch tactics and we've got some success. Truly. And this is not a hippy dippy person who's like down with it. But I was like, you were born during the void moon. We got, we got to change everything that I've just said. We got to switch up. And I was able to help this person because of you.
well, and for people who don't understand, void moons are things, it's like when the moon's off its normal course, it happens every time the moon changes signs, but sometimes it happens for 1 minute. Sometimes it's like a couple days at a time. It really depends.
Yeah.
Um, but it makes it wonky and they're uncontrollable and unpredictable and more erratic, those planetary placements. My Cancer moon is void in when I was born. So it's like, oh, awesome. I've got it where it wants to be, but it's
And
saying,
you were born
nope,
in Mercury
fuck those
retrograde.
cycles. Yeah, I feel like it's
Woo,
exactly
baby.
why like executive functioning can be very difficult for me sometimes. Those
Mm,
habits and patterns and can be
better
really
believe
hard for me
it.
to stick to. Um, okay, so new moon in Cancer, July 5th. Um, this is at like 4 a.m. my time, Pacific time, so
Hmm.
like 7 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, my
Okay,
time.
so this is, I mean, the moon's in its home sign. New moon in its home sign. Venus is very close by. The moon is going to do the new moon thing, and then it's going to keep moving and hit Venus. Beautiful. That's lovely. That's what's going to
Oh,
happen.
cool.
It's going to like be like, ah, Venus, I love you. Like mushy gushy, yay, or money. Like I want to manifest money. I want to manifest a relationship. I want to manifest like more material well-being or like a better relationship with
Ooh.
myself or whatever it is. But and there are other aspects happening too where the malefics are involved, Saturn and Mars, but they're playing nicely. They're playing nicely with each other and they're playing nicely with this moon. So it's like, wait, there's like,
Whoa.
whereas like Cancer can be like too fluid. It can be a little too like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I'll just like float that way or whatever. Saturn and Mars are going to give it structure and direction. Like there's like I know I'm not going to like get carried away. I'm like actually grounded and rooted in this. It's like there's an anchor in the boat that you're in, so you know where to stop to get that big fish that you want or something.
Yeah.
Really good, really, really beautiful new moon, seriously. So also
Cool.
just in general, thematically, it's like home, family, real estate, domestic life, personal life, emotional well-being, matriarchy, women's issues, if like any of that matters for you. And really just consider if you don't know what to do, I would say really just consider like how are your actions and intentions being driven by your emotional landscape and where are those emotions coming from? Why do you feel the way you feel? That's the past conditioning coming in.
Gotcha. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the question. How are your actions and intentions being driven by your emotions? Which is
Yeah.
something I ask my clients all the time. So stop letting your emotions that are rooted in the past driving the boat now, because how is that helping?
Yeah.
How is that helping?
Yeah,
It's
but
not.
you can't figure out how to stop it often until you understand why it's even happening. Like be
Hmm.
aware that that island exists, but then why are you still stuck on this island? How'd you get to the current island? Like understand those things. Um, then there's the full moon in Capricorn, and that is on July 21st, um,
Hmm.
th- early in the morning. And this is a blue
The blue
moon.
moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon.
Yes. Yes, that's where the phrase comes from. So this is because last month we had literally 1 month ago, June 21st, there was a full moon in Capricorn. And now we're having another full moon in Capricorn because the first one was at the very beginning of Capricorn and this one's at the very end of Capricorn.
Very Saturnian themed summer we have here, eh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so go listen to last month's, but you didn't hear last month's. Even though we recorded it, I could not get my shit together to get that out.
Maybe
That's
just
my
release
void.
it. Maybe they want to hear. You never
I don't
know.
know. At this
You
late
never
in the
know.
game, I don't know, man. I mean, I know I
That's
feel bad that we
true.
recorded it, but I'm like, I could.
Don't
There's
feel
not.
bad. Life
Fuck,
happens.
dude.
Okay.
Life has
Don't
been
feel bad.
happening.
Yeah. So don't you feel bad.
Um, So this is just an interesting feeling because to have the blue moon, two full moons in a row have to happen in frickin' this sign. Like it's the sign the moon technically doesn't like to be in. It's opposite Cancer. It's opposite the moon's home. So
Hmm.
it's like as far away from its cozy spot as it wants to be. Which is
Yeah.
okay because sometimes it's good to have that fish out of water, leave your comfort zone feeling, but this is a long feeling of that.
Long stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of just what this symbolizes is that there was already one and now there's another.
Hmm.
What's the long journey you've been on? The big long out of your comfort zone feeling or experience that you've had, and is it reaching some sort of like peak or culmination now? There's a lot of like connections happening to this one as well that are like really close. I don't want to
Yeah.
get into that, but like it's a lot of planets are tying into this. It is a supportive one, I'll say, as outside of I think outside of the I guess moon just in general being in Capricorn and the feeling of this like almost like an it feels like almost like an exhausted journey.
Yes,
Because
it does. And I'll tell you why I know this because my Capricorn rising, I mean, boy, since that eclipse clipped me and we've been just running on a dream
yeah.
in a positive mode. So yeah, it's exhausting. You're damn right.
Yeah. And
It's
there's lots of changes
exhausting
happening. Like there's because on top
all
of this, it's
day.
like, right, there's all these other things that are happening. And it's like there's a lot of change that's been happening. I don't know. So it's hard to
Yeah.
like, I think that, but this is all past oriented stuff, technically, right?
Yeah.
Traditional and heritage and things you've been up to
Yep.
in the midst of all this new winds of change a blowing. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
So you're like, but it's a full moon. So it's the completion of a storyline. This is like an ultimate completion. Last month, you could have felt like you reached a milestone moment or something, but then realized, oh shoot, but there's still more to go. It's that feeling of like thinking you got to the end, but then you turn the corner and you're like, wait, there's a little more still? Like, how does this keep continuing? So here it is, like we
Boy,
are gonna fucking
that
keep continuing. And
yes.
fucking fortunately, here the
Mhm.
storyline continues to fucking unfold.
So you just got to say, I'm so excited, okay? Instead of, like you can say, oh, here we are again. And then you just say, I'm so excited. And you just put your one little stubby foot in front of the other and you keep marching until you cross the fucking finish line. Does everyone understand me?
Yeah, just keep going. You got to, and yeah, there can be like so this can be like an ending, a long awaited conclusion, moment of awareness or realization about something really big that you've been trying to put effort into. It can also because Capricorn rules like your public persona. It's like the
Mm.
island that all the tourists would go by and see you on. Like that's the one they can all
Mm-hmm.
they identify you because of your Capricorn stuff on a high
Mm-hmm.
level end. It could be something about that. So there could be public recognition that comes in for you. Like you could get awarded around this time even. There could
Yeah.
be a peak moment in your career where you get a promotion or something, or you could be leaving a career because it is the end of a cycle too. So you might leave a job
Yeah.
and be ready to like start anew somewhere else or something. I think it's also just like this, if at the most fundamental level, I feel like it's like I'm getting my act together, like the realization of that. And no matter what, there's a realization or a new awareness that comes in at a full moon. So that's
Yeah.
what I feel like it is. Capricorn is like prepared, it is ready, it's that boss energy. I just feel like there's this getting my shit together thing going on.
Which is wild that, during the summer too, where it's like, but it is because also by the time that it hits mid-July, it's like kids have been out of school for little bit. You're hot, like there's not oppression, but it's like, I'm sick of my shit. So this makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And it's social too, like on a high level end too, like Capricorn is government and institutions, politics and all that stuff. So I would also expect this to be a big deal. Like this is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. That has been a hot degree. That's Pluto return. COVID planets hit that. Like that's a hot degree. So on a
Ooh.
big end, like as far as like American institutions and stuff go, sorry, listeners from other countries, which we have a lot of you. Thank you.
Yes, thank
I
you.
can't speak to your politics. I'm too wrapped up in the politics of Ryan right now.
Yeah.
No, but really, like we might see some crazy stuff, like because Pluto is also going to finally revisit here on September 1st, where this full
Oh.
moon is happening. There's an awareness about something, probably institutionally, governmentally, I don't know. And then Pluto is reversing course right now. And on September 1st, it re-enters Capricorn. It's going to be back at this degree for one final fucking time in our lifetime. And it's only for 2 months, not even like, no, yeah, a little over 2 months. And then
So
it'll be
right during
gone.
the
But
election?
yes, yes, during the election, Pluto's right
Great.
here. Yep.
Ooh,
And
great.
I know so there might be news, right, coming in or a culmination about the election cycle or something that during this full moon. And then September to November, Pluto sitting there is literally like Pluto's volatile and toxic. It discloses secrets. It's going to pull up your dead, buried shit and make it public in
Oh.
Capricorn, right? So
You
I'm
know,
like,
both of these fellas got dirt on them.
I know there's
Yeah.
something's gonna happen. Something's coming. I don't know. Something's coming.
I
Everybody feels it. Everybody fucking keeps talking about it. I can't, the amount of people who text me and they're like, why do I have this feeling of like something's about to happen? And I'm like, because probably it will. I don't know. Things always happen. The only other thing I'll say about this is that Neptune and Saturn are
uh-huh.
involved. They're both in Pisces. It really gives me this like, and Capricorn has to do with responsibility, taking responsibility, being the mature person, right? Like you need to, you're a
Hmm.
grown adult, and it can be isolating and solo. So
Hmm.
there can be this feeling of like I'm pointing my finger that way. It's not on me. It's that go over, look over there. Don't put this on me. I don't want to take the responsibility. That's not my fault. So avoid that and notice if you're trying to victim blame anybody too at this point in time. I feel like that's a big
Yeah.
energy that could happen around this full moon that would be like really bad. So that's all I got to say there. So those are like two of the biggest
Hmm.
things happening. That's to be honest, like the lunations are pretty potent. Um, After that, we got planets changing signs, which I'll just like kind of briefly run down here.
Well,
Yeah.
Mercury enters Leo July 2nd. Lovely.
Yes. Yeah. So Mercury communication, Leo, ruled by the sun. It's expressive, right? So this is loud, bold, daring, confident. Like performers love to have this. Artists, they're getting their creative energies across. They can translate creative energy very easily. And because the sun is ego and identity and authenticity, Mercury
Hmm.
being there has a way of expressing itself, right? Like, and in a way that's like, this is who I am. Love it or hate it.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah,
So
but
then we have,
appreciate
and
me.
then,
Um,
oh, yeah,
you
you gotta
know, they want
respect
that.
it.
They love a, yeah, they love a, they'll give out compliments too. They'll be very complimentary of other people, like generous with their words, I'd say, but they also want it in return.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, and then Venus follows shortly after, July 11th. So Venus being more of like your relationships, love, values, and self-worth, money. These things now start taking on a more playful spirit too. So this is actually a very romantic time. Venus and Leo can be like super fun and expressive with love. Um,
Cool.
yeah, and just more of what you desire. Like you're f flaunting and feeling yourself is what I wrote here.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Mars entering Gemini July 2nd.
July 20th.
Oh, July.
And
Yes.
then
July 20th.
that one is I think really fun. Some people think it's really chaotic, but I guess that's good for me. I don't know. Very multitasking
Dating.
energy. Yeah, Mars and Gemini can juggle a lot of things. Mars is that willpower, your how you put your best foot forward, right? Your energy levels in Gemini. it can do a lot. It really can. But so you don't want to take on too much. Like you'll just I wouldn't even
Hmm.
bother taking on much more than you already are now if you can help it. It's just more you'll notice yourself getting more done more quickly even.
Yeah.
Really good for anybody writing, public speaking, debating, really good for any travel. I would say though, Mars being weapons, tools, sharp objects, planet of war, words, Gemini, communication, words are weapons. So you want to be
Be
careful with that.
careful.
And you
Yeah.
want to
Be
not just be all
careful.
talk. Don't be just hot-headed and like all steam and no action. That's like gonna that'll show real quick. You will not win at anything if that's all you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, oh,
Sun
I also I
entering
was
Leo.
talking
So
about the other thing with that is like it's very I wrote productive community building, but when I was talking to Michaela about this, I was like, it makes me feel like because Gemini rules like the local environment, neighborhood, neighbors, like people
yeah.
around you. And so I do think this is really good for community building, any activity, and it's in the summer, right? People are out and about. But it made me think of with Cancer season, like all the moms are gonna be like power walking
Yeah.
starting July 20th. That's how I feel.
And get ready.
Okay.
Get ready for the school year.
Yeah. Um, Sun enters Leo July 22nd. So this is just the sun rules Leo. Sun changes signs every season. But this is where it's like by July 22nd, when the sun hits Leo, that's where you want to feel like, okay, I've explored. You got 22 days in can or in July to explore the archipelago. How much of you have you embraced? How much can you now start being in your authenticity and just kind of like letting yourself be and expressing yourself more
Hmm.
unabashedly after July 22nd?
Get it. Yeah.
And then Mercury enters Virgo July 25th. So Mercury rules Virgo. It leaves this very expressive, very stimulating space of Leo. And it's like, okay,
Ooh.
that was really fun. Now let's get things done. I got some things to do. Like I gotta take care of business.
That's good too, because a lot of people, a lot of like kids are going back to school around that time, like, so it's like, all right,
That's
let's start to like get it
yeah,
going.
that's literally what this is. That's so funny you said that.
Yeah.
That's literally what this is. Yeah, and it's like getting school supplies is a hands on that. Also health,
Yeah.
pets, skill building in any way, really, really good. I would say aside from like, yeah, maybe getting school supplies, I would July 25th, while Mercury's in Virgo, I would not learn new skills. I wouldn't take this time to be like, I'm going to be more productive and take on another thing or whatever, because as I'll tell you in the next theme, Mercury's about to go retrograde. This doesn't happen until August, but like because of Mercury about to go
Shadow.
retrograde, if you try starting something new between July 25th and August 4th, it's not going to happen. You're not going to stick to it. So just like optimize, finesse. Mercury and Virgo is going to like make sure the skills you already have can be enhanced.
Enhance what you're good at. Now we got retrogrades.
Yeah, retrograde. So what you don't know, because the missing June forecast is that at the end of June, Saturn turned retrograde on June 30th. So I'm just stating that Saturn retrograde in Pisces, we've already experienced a couple times. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. If anything, it can actually almost like ease up. Like Saturn creates hardship and rules and structure. It can start easing up a little bit, giving you a little bit more leeway wherever Saturn and Pisces is in your chart. Then the month really kicks off with Neptune retrograde on July 2nd. Neptune also retrograde in Pisces. So the Pisces area of your chart is going to start like kind of revealing things to you.
Great. I mean, this is just like a very transformational year for me because every Pisces, Aries, Capricorn, Gemini, I'm grateful, but like, I mean, this character development, my latest joke is like, I'm super grateful for it, but if I could just get a break on character development,
Well, this is
that's
probably
not
gonna
gonna
it's gonna
happen.
ease up. Like it really will. So there's like a
Oh,
easing up of things with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, but then Neptune's confusing in a fog and you can't see clearly. It distorts reality. Neptune would be the irrealism planet. Like it's confusing, it's surrealism really too, but like it this will probably it'll help you see things more clearly. Like Neptune
cool.
and Pisces rule Hollywood, right? Like, and so it rules the film industry, it rules photography. So, like I wrote here, like, how are you seeing reality? Is it through your eyes or through your phone screen? I think that's really important because it's like we literally how we view life is so through a fucking phone now. And it's crazy. I feel like this will be a time where maybe people are like putting the phone down a little bit more, and
That'd be
engaging
great.
with real life a little bit more, Yeah. So that
Yeah.
and then blind faith, the real like there can be this like ignoring things as they
Mhm.
are with Neptune and Pisces. And now that it's retrograde, you see it, the fog lifts, and you're like, I should have paid more attention to that thing. And now you're seeing it. So like I would say if anybody's like journaling, journal prompts, I was trying to write questions to be like, these are good like meditations. This Neptune retrograde in Pisces meditation, which happens until December 7th, by the way, um,
Oh
is
wow.
going to it's like how has your blind faith been failing you? Like where has that betrayed you? Even betrayal is a Neptune word.
Ooh.
Um, and then we'll talk about Mercury retrograde in the August forecast, but the pre-retrograde shadow is where Mercury retrograde themes can start coming up. And so you do want to
Hmm.
address things if you can before Mercury goes retrograde. So the pre-retrograde shadow starts July 16th. Okay. That's July 16th is how far Mercury will back up during the retrograde. That essentially. So the retrograde shadow starts in Leo, but it doesn't turn retrograde until it's in Virgo. So we got a
Ooh.
straddling of Leo to Virgo. Then it's going to go Virgo to Leo, and then it finally moves forward again, and it's going to go Leo to Virgo again. So like for me, it's that feeling I think of notice how are you allocating time toward fun and toward productivity. There's the things you want to do, and then there's the things I have to get done. And
Yeah.
how are you got to manage them. Both are important, but you got to manage them. And that's kind of the thing I want to say about that.
Yeah. Be on your shit. Get your to do. Have a list. Start working on it. Be a little organized.
Yeah, you might
And
need to give up some fun. Like you might have to literally, I wrote like a hypothetical, but I was like, you like maybe want to go to a concert with some friends, but you can't because you got to stay and clean your apartment because you have an apartment showing the next morning or something. Like you can't, you got obligations. So maybe do
yeah.
the things you need to get done first and then have time for playtime. Or it could be the opposite too. You might be a workaholic right now or something, and you're not giving yourself the time off with that Leo energy to just also put attention toward things you love. Um, and then the final one is Chiron retrograde in Aries. This starts July 26th and it doesn't end till the very, very end of the year. This is not
Oh.
that big of a deal. I don't often talk about Chiron retrograde, but it's getting up there in Aries now, and it's been in Aries for years at this point. It's weird. Chiron has the strangest orbit. It will spend like a year in Gemini, but it'll be in Aries for like 8 years. Like it's like got the
Whoa.
strangest orbit. So
Yeah.
anyway, this Chiron is your wounding, but also your healing. So in retrograde form, there's this internalization of wounding, but this ability to transmute wounding into healing. So how are you self-soothing? In Aries, it's all about me, me, me. I am. So identity wounds and taking ownership over your what you think are your flaws. I don't like that island over there. That's an island I prefer doesn't exist. But this starting July 26th, it's like, okay, I'll go tend to that island. It needs some watering or
Yeah.
something, right?
Needs my attention.
Yeah. My next little mini theme is that there are 2 big days this month where there are 5 big transits happening. I'm just going to
Ooh.
breeze through these. I just want people to be aware these are big, big, big days, largely good days. But these are days where it's like you're going to notice like your experience could vary wildly from someone else's experience because you might be experiencing one of these 5 transits that are happening on that day. Someone else is experiencing a completely different one. That's that archipelago situation
Yeah.
here. Um, so July 2nd, Neptune retrograde, already talked about it. Um, there's a bunch of things. I don't even know that I want to say them too much. And they need to listen to your gut on one end. Mercury entering Leo happens this day. We already talked about it. There's another thing that could feel very karmic, actually, where you're like, I've dealt with this pattern before, and you're like, I need to make a new choice. I need to like, I always habitually go to that island. I'm going to go to this one instead.
Mm.
And then there's also one that's like kind of a funny thing where it's like very good for getting to know yourself and like being alone and accepting that and like loving that. But then at the same time, it's also really good for like if there's somebody you really love, establishing longevity with them, making a long-term plan with them. We plan that trip that we always wanted to go on, and we'll do it next year, you know. So it kind of
Hmm.
depends, but there's really good relationship energy there, whether it's the relationship you have with yourself or with someone else. And then July 21st is the other big day. So just mark that down.
Ooh,
Full moon in Cancer, already talked about that. Or sorry, full moon in
yeah.
Capricorn, already talked about that. Otherwise, there are some really cool things happening on this one. Very lively on one end, very optimistic. Good financial opportunities can come up. Partying and celebrations can be really fun on the 21st. Um, you may also get some stress and anxiety, some destabilizing news probably causing that. There can be money issues related to entertainment as well. So like this is also a day on a negative end, July 21st, where I could see like news about AI taking away jobs in Hollywood, for example.
Yeah.
Um, there is, well, I'll say there's this ability to be brave and courageous, also very social, intellectual. It's like you have an ability to maybe see your goals more clearly and have the uh, know what you need to do to go after them and then actually go after them. If you are experiencing any of the stress, like the destabilizing mood or something suddenly happens, this can absolutely be the case. Something that's suddenly happened that you're not expecting.
Hmm.
There is a soothing energy here as well that I just wrote, it is what it is. It's like it's water under the bridge. So like you kind of
Hmm.
you're like, I can't do anything about that. This I wrote, it reminded me of last July when I literally walked
I was
into a
about
pool
to
with my
say,
phone.
yeah.
Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, whatever. Here I am at this 4th of July party.
Yeah.
Like now and now I don't have a phone, but I walked into a pool with my phone in my pocket. Um, so that's that. Those 2 days, July 2nd, July 21st, mark them down. Also, I would say July
Gotcha.
22nd, like July 21st really does bleed into July 22nd really nicely. Um, then there's three Pluto oppositions. These are going to be harsher days to look out for a little bit. Okay. Uh, Actually, and I shouldn't say July 22nd because that's one of the harsher days. So three personal planets in Leo, right when they enter Leo, they're going to immediately make an
Hmm.
opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto, which is retrograde in Aquarius. July
Hmm.
3rd, Mercury does it. So this can be harsh news coming in. This can be data and privacy issues. This could be somebody saying, telling you, you can't say that. You know, like you're saying something and someone doesn't like what you have to say. Uh, July 3rd. I
Ugh.
know, argumentative for sure. Um, July 12th, Venus does this. This is one of my least favorite aspects that anybody could ever go through because I've experienced it too fucking much myself. This is like the volatile relationship energy, very big power struggles in relationships, secrets coming out in relationships, possessiveness and jealousy themes coming out. There can be a big
Mm.
need for independence from a relationship that you're in, and not great for finances either. I'd kind of ignore that.
Gotcha.
July
That
22nd.
is 2 days before my show. So,
Yeah, but what it's good for is transformational experiences in beauty, aesthetics, and artistic expression. It can do that. It can force this like you got to change this thing, you know, and you just
yeah. Do
become
it.
yeah, it can do that. It can be a powerful thing for beauty. Um July 22nd, the sun then comes in and opposes Leo. That's hard. That's like a really hard one too, because sun is ego. It's like you're looking death in the face at this point. Like that's, you know, Pluto planet of death, destruction, create, but also creation. So death
Yeah.
and rebirth. But for me, it's like more of the because the sun is in its home sign, there can be an overconfident energy at this point. So it just makes me think of the Icarus. You're flying too close to the sun thing. Pluto will knock you down. That would also be a day because Pluto is power. Sun and uh, Leo can very much be like visibility and public figures, luminaries in that sense. So there could be like somebody in a position of leadership, or if you're in a position of leadership, even at like your organization or something, there can be like a mass group of people, Pluto and Aquarius, really opposing you as a leader, or you as someone who got anointed as something or whatever. So just know that. Be like a humble leader that day, please. Um, there are five nodal connections as well. Nodal connections being the north node, south node. Whenever a planet hits one of them, it's automatically hitting the other one too in some other capacity. Only one of them is a negative one, okay? And that is on July 2nd.
Good.
So that is part of the way that a July 2nd might not be so good, but otherwise July 2nd is pretty much a good day. But even that's not a bad one. That's just that faded thing of like, I've always done this thing habitually. I should probably try out this other thing instead. That's July 2nd. July 8th, I don't even want to say actually what these are. I don't want to, like, this is already long. I'm just gonna say July 8th, July 9th, July 19th, and July 31st. Feelings of fate, feelings of opportunity coming in. If any opportunities are coming in, don't ignore them. If people are talking to you and telling you something that feels important, don't ignore it. If you're getting big hunches and gut instincts, don't ignore it, you know? Like that's kind of the thing, I think. I don't think that there's anything else I want to say too much. Oh, yeah, I guess July 9th I really love. Jupiter's involved. Jupiter moves very slowly, so Jupiter hitting the nodes can
Oh,
be an incredibly favorable time for anything you want to get going, opportunities, and opportunities coming in through your social life, especially would be really cool. If you're in a legal battle, July 9th is a great day to like get progress going there, travel. Yeah. Um, and then I just have some honorable mention dates. Okay. These are
hmm.
just like this was hard. This is what I'm saying. I'm like these I couldn't even like give this a theme because it's just like it's just like these
Yeah,
days that there's a
so
lot going on.
many.
I know it's a lot, but you know what? We're feeding you guys. So we ate. I hate when people say that shit. Um, so two dates that relate to Saturn. Okay. July 5th and July 10th. And this is Saturn retrograde, by the way, that is getting impacted. Both of these are positive, by the way. I think actually all of these
Hmm.
are positive days. Yeah. See, all of these are positive days. There's really not a whole lot going on. Those three Pluto oppositions are the worst. Well, actually, one of them is not positive too. Well, okay. So July 5th, July 10th, that's a Saturn retrograde thing. Okay. This is just, I'd say be patient, be methodical, be on your shit. To do be responsible those days as best as you can.
One step in front of the other.
Yeah. And then there's two dates with Uranus involved. July 8th, that one's more like unexpected developments in relationships or finances. Exciting, no. Like, but you need to do something about it to like really take advantage of it. But like there can be serious progress unexpectedly where you're willing to have like an unconventional approach to love or something on July 8th. July 15th, this is the only day I need to like actually talk about. This is Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus. This is not good. This is not a good day. Sometimes this can be good, sure, but like
Hmm.
it's got a moving mountains kind of energy in a good way. Like I'm suddenly literally leveling this mountain that's been standing in my way.
Yeah.
But like Mars is tools and like sharp objects, right? And war, aggression with Uranus, sudden lightning in Taurus, the sign of the earth. I don't like this. On a literal environmental end, it's like wildfires starting. It's like lightning striking, and Uranus rules lightning, and then a fire breaks out. It's like earthquakes and volcanoes. Like it's that kind of stuff. But there can also be like serious disruptions. And isn't this fucking crazy too? I just am now making this connection. Like, but Taurus rules anything that grows with the earth. So like plants, but like agriculture, our food is very impacted here. Food industries, all the food
Mm.
recalls lately. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Hasn't that? I mean, it's been insane. It's like how is even going to the grocery store safe now? Like, can I even do that now? Everything's getting recalled. Like, it's insane. So, like, be careful, like, with that. But there might be unexpected, like, shit, like, serious, like, food
Oh.
related outbreak of some sort that happens at this point. Um, why I especially don't like it is because I want to get into it, but it's on a fixed star. I don't know. I never talk about fixed stars in astrology, but it's on, there are like two fixed stars that I will pay attention to. One is good and one is bad. This is the bad one. So I don't like it. It's not good. This is tricky, combative. There can be sudden meltdowns. There can be feelings of mass panic. The other thing, because Taurus is like a hoarder and it rules the physical resources we have, this feels like that sudden panic that happened. in 2020 when everybody all of a sudden
The
ran and
toilet
got toilet
paper.
paper. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's like everybody's out of nowhere freaking the fuck out and just hoarding everything. And it's like, it's just compounding. Like, ew, I just don't love it. So, July 15th, be a little careful, okay? This is not your day, right? Is it? Your day is on the
No,
14th.
the 14th, the
Yeah.
14th is it's a Sunday, and yeah, so the 15th, I'm just
Thank God.
traveling home.
What? Yeah, and what I
Yeah.
would say this is good for though, on a positive end, like that toilet paper example is like extreme, annoying, like apocalyptic alt-right bro end. The good end of
Hmm.
this is survival preparedness. It is about like, okay, like in California here, it is good to keep an earthquake kit. Like, do you have some water stored away? Can you get some canned foods or something? Do you have your emergency go
So I should
bag?
definitely like make sure my house is prepped for my house
Yeah.
sitter before, gotcha. Make
Yeah,
sure
no,
she's
yeah, yeah. If you live yeah, because you're like in hurricane territory, I guess. This isn't really giving me hurricane vibes. It's more like earthquake and wildfire vibes for me. But
yeah.
like, but I don't know. It's cancer season, so water's involved too. There can be a sudden.
Charleston is on an earthquake fault line,
Okay, yeah,
hilariously.
yeah. I mean, like
So,
you can never be too prepared, but you can. Toilet
yeah.
paper too prepared. Okay, like
Yeah.
this is good. Like if you want to channel this productively, it's a great day to literally like level a mountain. Just don't harm anybody else in that process, or like prepare, like just get some tools and things ready in the event that sudden events ever do occur. Okay. And maybe nothing will
Yeah.
happen this day. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's like not a good day. Okay. And then finally, there are two dates with Neptune involved, Neptune retrograde, July 11th and July 20th. These can be incredibly healing, forgiving. If you need to forgive someone, do it. If you're holding that grudge, let it go. That especially on July 11th. And then on July 20th, incredibly insightful and creative. Like very like I'm getting the signs and synchronicities from the universe, and it's inspiring me to take action. And that's what I have. That's your monthly forecast for July.
Woo! Buckle up,
I know it's a
guys.
lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. But do you see what I mean? Like there's so many different diverse aspects happening. So it's like, what about you? Are you exploring and discovering? What are you experiencing? What are these
I
islands?
like, yeah. What about you? What about you are you exploring? And I think that's the perfect way to go about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. It feels very personal this month. It doesn't feel like we're all going through the cosmic tides together. It feels very personal. I mean, that makes sense. Cancer's the personal life, your personal well-being. How are you tending to that shit?
You better be tending quickly, well. You better be agile. You better be grounded. You better be hydrated. You better be.
You need to be hydrated for damn sure. You do need to drink water in cancer season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things. And
Just a brief thing. Just brief.
yeah,
Let us
so
know. Let us know how you fare, if you're feeling it, if you're not, what it looks like, and let's get it popping, baby.
yeah. And we are back on our regularly scheduled programming. We have a very
We are
fun
back
episode
on our
coming out next
bullshit.
week
Yeah, we do.
that we've already recorded. If you've listened this long, just hint, star seeds, we're coming for you. Okay.
We're
Uh,
back on our bullshit.
back on our
Back on
bullshit.
our bullshit.
Yes. 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 So that makes me so happy. Oh shit. Yes. That's our habitual. We're back on our bullshit. Our
We're back
bullshit
on our
is
bullshit.
our
Yeah.
patterned. Yes, I love it. Um
Well,
okay,
love
well
you
thank you.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck. Godspeed. And we'll be back.